Hello again. Lots of people have said how much they liked this white on white-ish card. Um, it started from this little bit of scrap embossing, which is a Charlie and Paulson embossing folder, and this white Sizzix butterfly. I've got this little pot here of bits and pieces that I start to make, and either they don't work out or I don't get the right idea or something, and they just get put on one side. So every now and again I go back to it and see what I can do. So starting from those two things, I thought, what can I do? I'll make a white on white card. I'll keep it white. So I thought a little bit of light stenciling behind would look nice. I've got some tiny little butterflies as extra embellishments. Those are Britannia dies and a sentiment. And it was kind of done. I didn't set out to make it exactly like this, but it just kind of happened. One person who saw this card on Facebook said, how about bees? Could you do it with bees? I like bees too. So I've never done a white on white, or I suppose you could call this monochrome really, with bees. But, you know, I'll give it a go. So this morning I thought I'll look out and see what stencils I've got. And to start with, I thought I might have a kind of random stencil. So I found this one, which I'd cut on my silhouette portrait, and it's just sort of blotchy things. I don't know where I got the image from, but it's just a bunch of blotches. And I got a blending brush, just went through the stencil with a little smoky slate Stampin' Up! Ink. And I looked at that and I thought, oh, I was thinking to myself, you know, why don't I have hexagons? And then I thought I would like to put some raised hexagons on there, and I thought a background of hexagons might be too much. So I've got some little hexagons here that I die cut. This is the die for that. That's a clearly besotted one. And I started putting them on, and I thought, you know, I don't really like the mix of that background with this. Perhaps I will try with a hexagon background. So got this here. I've tried this one. This is a Stamplerations stencil, and I didn't want to obviously use the whole thing, but I thought I could use a bit of it, and I quite liked the idea. I thought I'd gone a bit too big with that, so I tried again on another bit of scrap, and I like the proportions of this better. It's a smaller area, and I thought I could pop some of these over those and have them raised. And then I've got a bee. He came from an UK eBay seller. I've never seen another one like it. I don't know what it is or whatever, but I like it. And these two little chaps are from this old memory box set of dies. They're a bit fiddly to assemble, but I think they're kind of cute. And this sentiment for New Home, which I thought was reasonable for a hive, was from Clearly Besotted. So I'll just show you how I went about doing this. I'll tip those onto there for the moment, so that I might be able to use those in a moment or two. On one of the videos I made, one viewer said, I just wasn't prepared. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing with what I was using or what I was going. So I was a little taken aback, but I do try to prepare before I do a video. Don't always know exactly how things are going to turn out, but I do try and think about it so that I don't confuse people too much. Anyway, that was the one I'm basing it on. And looking at my dies here, and looking at the card bases, this one with the butterfly is 5 by 7 inches. It's one of the bigger ones that I make. My normal size card is this, which is half a sheet of A4, cut down the length and tent folded. However, I like my cards to be clean and simple, and I thought if I've added this and this and the rest, there wouldn't be an incredible amount of space left to keep it clean and simple. So I think again I'm going to move up to a larger card because of the elements I want to put on it. So that's going away for the minute. I'm going to be thinking about this size. Okay, so if I want to put some of that stenciled honeycomb background, I'm going to go directly onto the card, not onto a card panel this time. So how did I do this one? Let's just look. I've got it kind of like that. That's where the solid one with the makes a gap is. So that is where do I want that? What I did, I cut a piece of vellum with an oval in it, and I thought I can hone in onto where I want that to be on my card front. So I think I would like it about there. Is that going to look nice? Let's just see. I think it's best to have a little think about where you want to put things rather than just, oh, throw it on. Let's see. I think it needs to be a bit further to the left. Let's move that over. About there, I would say. Okay, let's take away the bee, take away the hexagons. I think I'll just take this down to try and make sure that it doesn't move all over the place. Here's my low tack tape. Just pat that over there and over here. Okay, that's just a help. Now, I want to put this on really, really gently. I don't want to go to the outside of the circle. I don't want to get that harsh line. This is actually just a guide for me. Move over a bit more. Just a guide to make sure that I don't go too far out. So a little ink. I'm going to start on that empty space because I don't want a great blotch in the first position. Okay, here we go. Just a little onto the one where there's going to be no ink. Let's have a look. Not bad, just a bit more, I think. There we go. I think that's going to be enough. Okay, look, very subtle, very subtle. Now, close this ink up for the minute. These ones I want to put in these gaps like this, but I want them raised somewhat. There we go. Would I like those three? Would I like those three? Let's see. No, I'd like those three. Right, a bit of not double-sided tape, foam tape. This is from Sticks to Anything. I will put a link in the bottom. Right, hold it with my tweezers so my fingers don't get in the way of what I can see. Right. This is just absolute fluke that these hexagons are very close to the size of the ones from the stencil. It's just a bit of luck, really. This is the smallest hexagon I could find in my stash. So let's put that one just there. And we'll have this one There we've got a little bit of dimension, a little bit of interest. Now, the bee can go onto one of them. My two little bees can come up to it like this. And my sentiment, these I think will put flat, but my sentiment I will put onto a piece of foam tape. There we go. Now I'll just show you for a moment how I went about assembling the other bits. There. This one can go partly on there and partly on the, we might go up there. I quite like him there. Coming into his home. Whatever. Anyway, I'll just show you what I did to do the bee. I've got another hexagon stencil here. This one I made myself. This is a Sizzix background die, and I just cut it from this sheet of mylar. Mylar, I don't know what else it's used for, but it is used for stencils, and this is 250 microns thick. So that was another alternative for me to try, but when I discovered that this hexagon fitted the hexagons on this stencil, I thought that was a good thing to try. Okay, that is practically finished. So I'll just go through these things. The bees, I just cut from a piece of one of my offcuts of white card. I use all my scraps and things for stuff like this. So a little bit of this is double-sided tape, not foam tape, double-sided tape on the back of the card. Pop, just check that right over the tape, and cut out. Okay. Now, often these do this. They stick in the die. Some haven't there, but this is what I do. Let me get a pokey tool. Let's take this one out for a start. I'm keeping the backing on it for the moment, and I'm going to pop on the bands. I'm not going to colour them yet. Now I'm going to push the double-sided off. Okay, now I've got the actual thing itself, and I'm just going to stick that onto here. Let me come in a bit so people can see a bit more clearly what I'm doing. Okay, right. Push the double backing off like that. Pick up the piece and stick it on. Okay, got to do his tail. If you go sideways at it, you can push it off, pick up the piece and stick it on. Now he's just got this bit from his head. Push sideways across the die, that's it, and pick up. Now that's the way I often do with, if I use this die that I use for making like little coloured dots on things. Come off, stuck to the magnet. Lots of them stick inside the holes, so I just slip off the backing, pick up the dot and pop it on. It works for me. Anyway, there is that one. Now we've got two wings. Okay, two wings. Push off like that. Pick up and stick on. Before I actually stick that on, let me just add a bit of colour to this. I just want to make it... Oh, he's got his head on one side. Looks a bit tipsy. There we go. Let's just put a bit of colour, a bit of the grey, just to define just a little. Don't much, just a little. Okay, that'll do. Now here's my wing. And pop that onto there. And the other wing, push off the backing. Oops, there we go. And pick up the wing to pop it on. Now, sometimes you may have a thing like this where you want that to stick to the base of the card, but you don't want these bits to sort of catch down and stick. So what you can do is this. Before you take that backing off, you can use a little talcum powder, or this is an anti-static thing, and you can just put a bit of anti-static or talcum powder on that, and then that won't, if it touches the card, it won't stick. It just won't stick. Then you can take off the backing and stick your B wherever it happens to be. I don't think I'll need an extra one. I might do, who knows. Depends. If it was for a family, for example, and there was a mother and father and 2 children, I might do the big one, this one, and then 2 tiddlers. It's kind of neither here nor there, really. Just, you know, horses for courses, really. So the other one, I didn't put back double-sided on the back first. All I did was to cut it out. And there's my B. There. Then I popped out these, added some colour with my blending brush. There's the 4 pieces. They're very small. Added some colour with my blending brush. Got a narrow piece of double-sided tape. Let me just find some. All I can see, oh, here we go. Here's some narrow. I put a narrow strip of double-sided down the middle on the back of the B. And then once I'd coloured those, using my blending brush, just popped them in and they stuck to that piece of double-sided tape. And then I can put on the back here, I could put a bit of foam tape, glue dots. I could take that off and just stick it directly. There's lots of choices, lots of choices. Anyway, there we go. A slightly different version of this card. Not quite so fancy, not quite so detailed, but still really clean and simple. So, another one for you to have a think about, and thank you so much for watching.